recap. David, So, and Singinabob arrive in Anslock, only for David to say that indeed they need not to be in Anslock, but in another place called Afinoto. They travel in a car immediately to Afinoto, and when they arrive, the doors of the car immediately lock, and they are accosted by Dagerdoth, who reveals to them Singabob's plan to take over all of the worlds in the dimensions. That is Singabob, not Singinabob. Remember, Singabob is Singinabob's evil brother, twin to be exact. The next thing they know, the doors of the car unlock, and they are free with no Dagerdoth around. And David once again has an intuition that they need to move somewhere and convinces Singinabob that he can take So and David with him to travel to another spot. Singinabob is extremely reluctant to do this because in the past, any experience he has had with this, anybody who travels with him has died. However, David convinces him that if they all believe 100% that they can do this, that it will work. Dagerdoth then reappears and is going to kill or have his guards kill all three of them. And just in time, David convinces Singinabob and So to all hold hands, and they are transferred to another location. When they wake up, David finds himself in a lot of pain and realizes that he is stuck full of Singinabob quills, which are like porcupine quills, but they are stuck in David. And he also realizes that he doesn't know where So is. The next thing we know, So has revealed that he is critically injured, and David manages to get to his side. David then performs a healing process on So and manages to close the wound that So has, however, believes that So has died. David then passes out, believing that So has died, only to be brought back by So, who is holding his hand and calling his name. David then proceeds to take out all the rest of the quills that are in his body, again using his breath, but then passes out and falls asleep. And that's basically, I think, where we have left it in the last chapter, and now we will continue. Chapter 11. So disappears. Blink and blag and hog, you're back, said Singinabob. I was listening to Singinabob, but looking at So. What was it that So had said? I know how you feel, and I feel the same way. What exactly had he meant? I thought I knew, and it scared me. Are you okay? I asked him. His eyes met mine. Yes, he said. Are you? Yes, I'm fine, I replied. I looked at Singinabob. What's next? I asked. Before Singinabob could answer, So spoke. David? Yes, I replied. I just wanted to say, you saved my life. Thank you. It's okay, I said. You saved mine too. I wouldn't have come back without your encouragement. Your hand. I could feel your strength pulling me back. For some reason, I felt embarrassed to say this, even though it was perfectly true. Without David's voice and hand on mine, I would have sunk deeper and deeper into unconsciousness and eventually died. I know it. Okay, you two, said Singinabob. That's enough. You saved each other's life. No big deal. While we sit here, Dagerdoth is continuing with his plan to take over all of the worlds. He may already have Afinoto completely under his control and be working on another world. We haven't got any time to waste. If he has Afinoto under his control, I asked, wouldn't we know it? I mean, aren't we still in Afinoto? Where did we go when you moved us? We are still in Afinoto, said Singinabob, but we are in a place that even Daggerdoth doesn't know about. This is my, it's my home here, and this is my bedroom. You mean, I asked, that concrete slab is your bed? You're bleepin' bloppin' right it is, said Singinabob. Why, don't you like it? It's not that I don't like it, I said. It's just that, it's the thought that I was lying on top of you in your bed that I don't really like. Well, believe me, said Singinabob, it didn't excite me too much either. The thought crossed my mind that I would have preferred to have ended up on Singinabob's bed with So, but I immediately pushed it out of my mind. What was wrong with me? Why was I having these thoughts? We need to find out what is going on in Afinoto, said So. Good. Something else to focus on. How are we going to do that, I asked. Well, I could go out and see, said Singinabob. But you are easily recognizable, So said. I don't think that's a good idea. Well, I could go, I said. No one really knows me, well, except for Daggerdoth. Wait a minute, said So. I think I should be the one to go. Why? I asked. Because no one will see me, So replied. But surely you are more recognizable than me, I said. Yes, I am, So said. When I say no one will see me, that's exactly what I mean. I have the ability to make myself invisible. Invisible? I said. Yes, So said. How do you think I spied on you in your world? How do you think I learned all about you without you seeing me? You mean you were watching me, like, up close all the time and I didn't even know it? I asked. Yes, said So. There were many times when I was right with you, watching you and listening to you. That's kind of creepy, I said. I don't know whether I like the idea that you were watching me, like, do everything. I mean, there were times when I thought I was alone, when I might have been doing some, weird things. Well, don't worry, So said. When I felt you needed your privacy, I gave it to you. Giddy as glop and glue. Would you two get on with it? Singinabob said. I think So is right. He should be the one to go out and find out what is going on. I will, said So. I reluctantly agreed. When you leave here, Singinabob said, you will be on a side street called Catskill. Turn right, walk to the end of the street, and you will be on the main street, which is called, Main Street. If you turn right on Main, that will take you downtown. But you are going to turn left, away from downtown. Keep walking up Main Street, and when you see the house with the 2 stone cats on the front step, go to the door. Knock. If someone answers and they ask you what the name of your cat is, say Sing Sing. They will then invite you in, and you can find out from them what is happening. If someone answers the door and they don't ask you that question, then you need to immediately disappear and come back here. We'll have to make another plan. Okay, said So. I'll be back as soon as I can. I wanted to reach out and take So's hand again, to let him know that I would worry about him when he was gone, but I couldn't. Well, at least I didn't. Be careful, was all I managed to say. I will, don't worry, So said. He closed his eyes and appeared to be whispering to himself. I couldn't tell what he was saying. But as he whispered, he gradually grew fainter and fainter before completely disappearing before my eyes. The door to Singinabob's bedroom opened and shut, and he was gone. Chapter 12. Singinabob's Talk. So was gone, and here I was, stuck with Singinabob, alone. What the heck would we talk about while we waited for So to return. "You're going to have to be very careful," Singinabob said. I wasn't sure what he was referring to. If anyone needed to be careful right now, it was So, not me. "Your intuition," Singinabob continued, "is going to be severely jeopardized." Now I was really lost. Why would my intuition be severely jeopardized? "David, are you listening to me?" asked Singinabob. "Yes," I responded. "I'm listening to you, but I don't understand what you are saying. Why is my intuition going to be jeopardized? I know I am just getting used to trusting it, but if anything, I seem to be getting better and better at using it. It's not taking me as long to make decisions as it was before." "But that's the whole point, isn't it?" said Singinabob. "What's the whole point?" I asked. "You are just getting used to trusting your intuition," Singinabob said, "and now you have this whole thing with So." Whole thing with So? Not only was I confused, I was getting scared. Was he talking about my feelings for So? How could Singinabob know about that? Could he read my mind? I felt really self-conscious and could no longer look Singinabob in the eye. "David, look at me," Singinabob said. I continued to look at the floor. "Bleepin' blippin' blog," Singinabob said. "I can't believe this. David, look at me and tell me you don't have feelings for So." I remained silent, more embarrassed than I had ever been in my life. "What is your problem?" said Singinabob. I'm sorry," I paused. I know I shouldn't have these feelings, but it's just that, well, I think you're exaggerating. I mean, I like them and all that, but what you're saying, I don't know." "Stop," said Singinabob. "Stop right there. What are you apologizing for?" "Well," I started, "it's just that I'm not sure where you get this idea that I might be, you know." I couldn't bring myself to say the word. "Greepin' grippin' grog," said Singinabob. "This is not about your being gay. Well, I guess it is, actually, but not in the way you are saying. I mean—" Singinabob stopped. I kept looking at the floor. I couldn't believe he had said the word gay and was talking about me. I wasn't gay. I couldn't be. I was just a normal 13-year-old boy. Well, normal other than the fact that I seemed to have intuitive powers and the ability to heal people when they were injured. But gay? No way. That just wasn't possible. "Look, David," said Singinabob, "what I'm trying to say here is that I'm worried that your feelings for So and his for you are going to get in the way of you using your intuition. You seem to think I'm telling you that your feelings for So are wrong. What could possibly be wrong with them? You're attracted to him. He's attracted to you. I can't believe you are feeling ashamed about that. You, who has all this incredible strength, the ability to intuit, the ability to heal. Here you are, a superhero in the making, and you're feeling ashamed of your feelings?" I looked up at Singinabob. Was I hearing him correctly? Was he saying that there was nothing wrong with my feelings? That it was okay to have this attraction to So? That So felt the same way? How could he know all this? So and I hadn't even talked about it ourselves. "I don't know why we are talking about this," was all I could think of to say. "We are talking about it," Singinabob said, "because you need to understand that your feelings for each other are going to get in the way of you making safe, logical decisions. They are going to get in the way of your intuition." "I'm not sure what you mean," I said. "Okay," continued Singinabob. "The way So explained your intuitive abilities is that you are able to make decisions without knowing anything about your situation. You have proven that over and over again. You knew that we had to go to Anslock even though you had never heard of it. Then you took us to Afinoto again without any knowledge that Daggerdoth would be there. Because we arrived when we did, we were captured by Daggerdoth and then mysteriously released. Because of your decisions, we now know that Daggerdoth is here and that he and my brother are planning to take over all the worlds and indeed all the dimensions. All of this happened because you were unemotionally involved in the situation and knew nothing about it. Do you understand what I'm saying? Sort of, I said. I guess. If you have to make a decision, Singinabob said, and your decision is influenced by your feelings for so, you could easily make the wrong decision. What kind of wrong decision? I asked. You could decide our next course of action based on your unconscious need to protect so from any harm, as opposed to making the decision entirely from your intuition, Singinabob said. I think I see, I said. You've got to see, said Singinabob. You've got to separate your feelings for so from your ability to follow your gift, which is your intuition. So you're afraid I might make the wrong decision about what we are to do because I'm worried that so might get hurt, I said. Exactly, said Singinabob. But how do I shut off my feelings for so? I said. I couldn't believe I was now openly talking about my feelings for so when just a minute ago I couldn't even look Singinabob in the eye. I don't want you to shut off your feelings, said Singinabob. That would be inhuman. And you are a human. You just have to be aware of them. They have to be out in the open where we can all look at them and talk about them if necessary. If they are hidden away, that's when they will be a problem and a disadvantage. Are you saying, I said, that I have to talk to So about this? About my feelings? I can't do that. That would be too difficult. Glip and glop and glee, said Singinabob. Listen to yourself. You and So have been sending signals to each other from the moment you met. You'd have to be blind not to see that. So knows how you feel, and you know how he feels. We just need to be able to put that information on the table when decisions are to be made. That's all. Stop behaving like you were doing something bad. I turned away from Singinabob and sat down on the floor, leaning up against the cement-like structure of Singinabob's bed. I had a lot of thinking to do. So much had happened in the last, 3-4 days, much of which was spent unconscious on the trip here. I had no idea how long it had been since I had woke up in that room that was not my room and first encountered Singinabob on the bed that was not my bed. Everything from meeting So, being tortured, lunch in Seesaw's Cafe. I felt my eyes close and my mind wandered off into a deep sleep. Chapter 13. David's Shower. When I woke up, there was a blanket over me, and someone was sleeping right beside me. It was So. We were both under the same blanket, and while we weren't actually touching, it felt very intimate. I liked it. I stared at So's face and felt that if I never did anything else for the rest of my life, I'd be happy. So's eyes opened, and he was looking at me. I felt my face flush red, but managed to maintain eye contact with him. Good morning, David, So said. Good morning, I stammered. Singinabob told me about your little talk, So said. Yes, was all I could think of to say. Are you okay? Asked So. I couldn't decide what to say. Finally, it came out. I can't imagine being any better, I said. So smiled. How could someone this beautiful be attracted to me, I thought. Okay, you two lovebirds, enough of your little tweets. We have work to do, Singinabob said from the top of his cement bed. I pulled the blanket back, and So and I stood up. The Watsu is the door with the 10 cats on it, Singinabob said. If I'm not mistaken, as you are humans, you may need to shower. I don't need to waste my time with any such details. I have my tongue to take care of that. The shower is big enough for both of you, so let's just get it done. We don't have time to waste. There was silence in the room. So and I just stood there. Well, said Singinabob, what's the problem? Go! I wasn't ready for this. Declaring my feelings for So was one thing. Even sleeping next to him was within the realms of acceptability. But showering together? As exciting as the idea might be, there was no way that was going to happen. Singinabob, So said, you may think you understand humans, but you don't. David and I are not ready to shower together. At least that's how I feel. David, do you agree? Yes, 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 I said, maybe a little too emphatically. So looked at me with raised eyebrows. I mean, it's not that I wouldn't like, I started, but I don't think I could. I mean, maybe later? I mean, much later. A voice in my head told me it would be better to stop talking, and I did. Blinkin', blat, blog, and blue, said Singinabob. You humans never cease to amaze me. Well, whatever. So, you go first, and while you are showering, I will fill David in on what you learned when you were out. Sol left for the Watsu and the shower. Why did they call the bathroom the Watsu, but the shower was still called the shower, I thought. But I didn't have time to ask Singinabob. It seems that Daggerdoth, started Singinabob, has been as good as his word, David. Somehow he has taken control of Affinado. So was able to meet up with my sources and discovered that everything is under Daggerdoth's control. He has taken over the electrical grid, telecommunications, and all of the banking system. The local government is no longer in control of anything. That is the bad news. The only good news is that his control does not seem to be absolute. Every once in a while, everything reverts back to normal. When that happens, there is a rush of people trying to communicate with other worlds to ask for help. This causes all the servers to overload and everything shuts down. No one is able to connect with the outside world long enough to explain what is happening. By the time they get everything back up and running, Daggerdoth has once again taken control and no one can get out. Why can't you just transport yourself to another world and get help that way? I asked. I tried, said Singinabob. I've tried a few times, but it seems that when Daggerdoth has control, my ability to come and go is curtailed. But, I asked, we were able to get into Affinado, the three of us. How do we manage that? You were responsible as far as I can tell, Singinabob responded. Every once in a while, when Daggerdoth loses control, there is a window of opportunity to come and go, and your intuition had us moving at one of those exact moments. Not only that, we timed our arrival such that we were locked in the car when Daggerdoth regained control, and so were able to hear about his plans, and then, miraculously, he lost control again, allowing us to escape from the car and make our way here to my bedroom. Couldn't that all be a coincidence? I asked. Maybe we just happened to be in the right place at the right time. Well, it could have been, said Singinabob, but I don't believe it. There were too many coincidences for it to be a coincidence, if you know what I mean. We couldn't have been that lucky. No, everything that has happened so far is a result of your decision-making. I'm convinced of it. Both So and I are now dependent on it. On you, in fact. I don't think I'd be going too far to say that all of Affinado is dependent on you. This is why you are here, to stop Daggerdoth from proceeding with his plans. Just then the door opened to the Watsu, and So came out. I was so consumed by what Singinabob had said that I didn't even talk to him. I just went into the Watsu and had my shower. Once I was in the shower, I tried to think clearly. I didn't like all this responsibility. It was one thing for Singinabob and So to have expectations of me, but to have all of Affinado depending on me, that was too much. In fact, it was ridiculous. Here I was, a 13-year-old boy, and they were expecting me to solve all of their problems. I didn't want to leave the shower. Both Singinabob and So were expecting me to tell them what our next plan of action would be. I didn't have a clue. I was lost. How was I going to look So in the face? He would be so disappointed in me. He might not like me anymore. I had to come up with something to keep him happy. Wait, I spent a minute thinking. Isn't this exactly what Singinabob was talking about? I was so worried about So and his expectations of me that it was preventing me from thinking clearly. Singinabob was right. If I focused on trying to please So, I would not be making a good decision. In fact, I might not be able to make a decision at all. I had to put So, Singinabob, and Affinado out of my mind. I had to trust myself, trust my ability to be able to know what to do when the time came to do it. But how would I get So out of my mind? How did I get everything out of my mind? I began to breathe, just as I had when I was healing So. slow, in and out breaths, drawing the air in from the tip of my toes to the top of my head and then slowly letting it out in one long breath until my belly was completely empty. After doing this 4 or 5 times, I felt my entire being beginning to calm down. It wasn't that So was gone from my mind, but I was no longer concerned about pleasing him. I still didn't know what we needed to do, but I felt a trust within myself that I would know when it was time to make a decision. Chapter 14. What's for dinner? I stepped out of the shower and dried myself off. Out of curiosity, I checked the facilities. There was a normal bathroom, like I was used to, and also one of the large cat litter boxes as well. Which one did Singinabob use? I had a pretty good idea. When I came back into the room, Singinabob and So were both eating. There was a third plate sitting out, presumably for me. "Eat up, David," So said. "Who knows when we will get to eat again?" I picked up my plate and inspected the contents. It smelled good, but I did not recognize it as any type of food I had consumed before. Would anybody be offended if I asked what this is?" I asked. "I mean, it smells awfully good, but I'm just curious as to, what it is." Neither So nor Singinabob answered, but I could see they exchanged a look with one another. I mumbled. "I mean, is no one going to tell me?" So finally spoke. "David, all I can say is this is one of my favorite meals. I know you will enjoy it. Just try it. I'll tell you later what it is. But I wouldn't want to spoil the, surprise." I didn't like the way he said surprise. I had a feeling if I knew what the surprise was before I tasted it, I probably wouldn't be trying it at all. I looked at the contents again. It was clearly some kind of meat, and it had a sauce on top of it. There was also some things that looked like vegetables, but not like anything I had seen before. The aroma was drawing me into it. I picked up a fork that was next to the plate and tentatively poked at the meaty-looking thing. "Grip and grop and glog," Singinabob said. "Just eat it for grip and glob's sake. It's not going to kill you, and So and I are not going to wait around all night while you play with your food." I could see that both So and Singinabob were just about finished eating. I was starving. I had to eat. I took the plunge. My fork entered the meat and made its way up to my mouth. I chewed, expecting the worst, but much to my surprise, it was good. "This is good," I said. So giggled. I could even see a small smirk on Singinabob's face. "What?" I asked. "Why are you both smiling?" "Nothing," said So. "Just enjoy your food." "David," said Singinabob, "as soon as you are finished eating, we need to decide what we are going to do next. I say we, but I think you are going to have to lead the way on this. I have some ideas, but I'd really like to hear what you have to say." The moment had arrived. I had to have a plan. I temporarily forgot about what I was eating and just ate. My mind was focusing on what we should do. "We can't leave here," I said. "What do you mean?" asked Singinabob. "You mean we can't leave this room? But that's ridiculous. How are we supposed to get—" "No," I interjected. "I mean we can't leave Afinoto. I guess what I really mean is we shouldn't leave Afinoto. If we do, we stand a good chance of never getting back here, with or without help." "Oh," said Singinabob. It sounded like he really believed me. I was glad he did, as it helped me to believe in myself. "If we can't leave Afinoto," So said, "that means we have to accomplish something right here in this world. We can't just sit around waiting for Daggerdoth to take full, consistent control of everything." "You're right, So," I said, "but we need to find Daggerdoth. But we can't kill him. I think—" I had to stop for a minute to make sure what I was saying was true. The information was coming into my mind, but it came so fast that I wanted to double-check and make sure I wasn't just making it up. "I think," I continued and stopped again. "No, I know that we have to catch Daggerdoth alive. We have to get him and bring him here to this room."